Going on, everybody? This is James Square Master Facts Boyce, and you're here for another Facts Project review. Today, we are going to be covering Marian, Heretic, Boom Studios Issue 2, of course, written by Tini Howard, artwork done by Joe Jaro, colors done by Walter Baiamonte, and letters done by Jim Campbell. Now, if you remember from Issue 1, this whole story deals with kind of like the intersectionality, or better yet, the parallels between witchcraft and religion, covenants and covens. So when we're dealing with this whole situation with Heretic, and remember, she's under persecution for basically starting her own covenant and basically coming to the authorization of 3 physical manifestations, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, who are now calling blasphemy amongst Marian and all her followers due to the fact that she is teaching an entire example of religion that God is a woman. And this, of course, amongst a church of men, comes off as a blasphemous crime. And therefore, her punishment is that she is to become a witch hunter for the church and is sent out nightly in order to assassinate witches on a daily. Now, when we first started this singular issue, she got introduced to a woman named Raveena. Raveena was somebody that kind of like stopped her dead in her tracks and pretty much told her about how very close in proximity and how alike they are. And it's almost reverberated, of course, in issue 2 that, you know, aside from what she wants to think and aside from her running her own covenant, she is a witch. So this whole conclusion kind of like builds itself because she keeps getting sent on missions by the church. These 3 physical manifestations: an older gentleman, a young gentleman, and somebody of huge physical stature. So in issue 2, we start to see like these glimpses. The first exact page is actually a nightmare situation to where she feels as though it's a sign that she's starting to get nightmares of her persecution coming to a fold, to where she's being pretty much sent to an eternal punishment in hell. And the whole point of the whole nightmare is that Raveena is kind of like the anchor in all of this. And it's not only her having nightmares, but it's people within her covenant that are also having the nightmares. So she feels as though, you know, she has to stick to this particular path, even though she kind of made like a handshake deal with Raveena in issue 1. So when we get into this particular issue, she's sent out on another mission. But the thing is, also in return, Marian is looking for answers. So Marian comes across 2 so-called witches inside of their apartment, probably practicing alchemy, maybe even studying witchcraft on their own. And their names are Angie and Claudia. Now, they tend to like lead. First off, they automatically think that she wants to kill him because of her entrance into their loft, because them understanding that the church has been trying to basically persecute and kill witches all this time. Anytime that a hunter of their sorts comes into their domicile, they're pretty much going to end them right there. But the thing is, these witches were ready. And it seems as though everybody that seems to get in contact with Marian comes to the understanding that she's not like the rest, because the church also has an army, almost like a Vatican City styled army, metal helmets, crusaders, who are there to basically do the church's bidding. As a matter of fact, because she's taken so damn long in possibly retiring these 2 witches, they tend to basically jump into the apartment themselves and be like, look, if you ain't gonna do it, we'll do it. But the thing is, somebody has to bring back dead witches tonight. It's either going to be you or it's going to be us. So when we get around to it, she holds them off long enough. As a matter of fact, she has to actually hold them off physically, to the point where she actually ends up killing one of the head guards for the church and almost doesn't necessarily know what to do until a car rolls around the corner, and it's Raveena. And the fact that she actually like let the two so-called witches go free is going to get called upon by the rest of that army that's out there, even though one of them just basically got unalived by Marian. And Raveena just wants to have a couple words, because the last time that they had a conversation, she understands that this little like communion wafer that's inside of this staff has a sort of healing ability to it, because she utilized it on the two witches inside of the apartment. And understanding so that tends to happen all the time, Raveena wants to get her hands on these so-called blessed wafers. And in the means of doing so, because she feels as though I can help you get rid of the body if you in return give me what the church is giving you for all this power inside of this staff, namely these wafers. And of course, you know, she doesn't want to do it. So she's like, okay, fine. But one thing you do have to understand is that you are a witch as well. And decides to have, you know, a glass of wine with her, just to chill the moment. Like, let's just talk. Until she finds out that she's been drugged. It's kind of like a hallucinogen. And it's leading to the climax and the cliffhanger going into issue 3 of how we're probably going to get an origin story for Marian, because Raveena's singular question is that who were you before you created your own covenant? Who were you before you were a nun? And this leads to who Marian was, or what type of person that she was before she joined the church, before she created her own covenant. So I look forward to more. Tini Howard is doing a fabulous job, especially with this whole story right here. It's fascinating. So we will get into issue 3, and I'll see you guys next time on the channel.